Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Radical Geek live stream, where tonight we're going to be talking about Siphon Brew and a slew of other things. I see the chat is very active, and so let's just go in there and say hello to everybody. I see Hungry Heath first, as always, and then but Shauna, Air Frying Auntie, saying that it was only because she was quiet. We've got the Warden and Jingle Baller on. Jen Delaney has joined us. Visual Keto is here. All of our usual troublemakers. So it's good to see you guys. And I have a lot to go through tonight, even though maybe not as focused on the super cool coffee as you might imagine. So hello Air Frying Auntie, good to see you. So I wanted to start off tonight, especially since Jingle Baller actually made it, with a big, huge thank you, because I got a surprise package, and I thought you guys would appreciate seeing it. It was what I was told is that it was a bit of Texas to kind of get a feel for things, and I think that a lot of us have these, and I did not have one yet, but it's a very sparkly bacon Christmas ornament. And I have a bag here so I can kind of clean up, because I have so many things on my table right now. It's a little out of hand. So, and then Central Market jalapeno venison dry sausages. And I did open them right away and eat them because they are delicious. I am super pleased, and now I'm going to have to find out if I can order them. So, and I see Klaus Cattle Company's joined us. Nice to meet you, and welcome, because I know that you are a newer subscriber. So, good to see you. So, venison jalapeno sausages, and it was super good. So, and then a Pomegranate Black Tea. Try and get the glare off of it. So, I love pomegranate, and also I love black tea, so that'll be great, especially in the early mornings, because it's been super cold here lately. So, and then there is a huge bags, 2 of them actually, of coffee beans, and this one is Hill Country Pecan from Rockport Coffee Company. It's a legendary flavored coffee. And I will tell you that immediately everyone wanted to get into the coffee, and I refused to open it and said they had to wait until I shared with all of you on the live stream. I see Gigi here. Gigi's here has joined us. So, and actually pecan is one of my favorites, so I'm excited for that. But the other bag of coffee is called Taste of Rockport, and it is actually a blend of coffee beans. It's Guatemala Antigua, which is actually one of my very favorites, by the way. Costa Rica Terrozo and dark roast coffee, and it's so it's all blended. And so this actually I ripped open and I ground my coffee for tonight. Gonna smell the beans for a second, because it smells really good. And so we'll be trying new coffee. And I see that Heath has mentioned that the Central Market is sort of like the Texas version of our whole paycheck grocery. We call it, that's what I call it here, but Whole Foods. So yeah, so that's usually high quality stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. And just thanks a lot, Jingle Baller, because that was like an amazing surprise, and definitely cheered me up quite a lot based on the week I've been having at work lately. So that's the coffee I've ground for today. Where to start next? So I don't have everything all together tonight, so definitely not as together as I usually am. I usually make my treats ahead of time, and I didn't get quite that far. But also, it's real simple tonight. It's just a protein cake mug cake, and I thought why not? We'll just make it here on the stream, and probably what this actually means is that we're going to get a lot of things going, and I'll make a mess or something because it's too many things to focus at once. But, you know, whatever. But it's super, super simple, and almost always, you know, when I make them, I show like the little bundt cakes, and people often ask that, oh, for the recipe, but it's really not like an amazing recipe, and it's what I just call like the standard protein mug cake. So like pretty much every influencer has posted one in the past, so, but I thought, well, why not? We'll run through it. And so I have a mixing bowl here. I'm going to plug in my dash. I'm actually going to use the mini dash bump maker instead of microwaving it. I actually find that they are, it takes longer to cook, but it tastes better and the texture is better than the microwave. So this is the mini dash bump maker, and on the inside it's fluted and has like a little bundt top and a little lifter, which makes it super nice for getting the little cake out of there. So we'll let that heat up while we put it together. Just leave it right here. I start with a 3/4 ounce of avocado oil. Oh, I also see that Jingle Baller has put their Blackstone together and is getting ready to start seasoning it. And it's not quite on high. Definitely number one thing for putting it on high. And then just remember, super, super, super light on the oil for the first round of seasoning. And let it go longer than you think it needs. So that'll be awesome. So, and Blue Dove has joined us. Good evening. All right, so 3/4 ounce of avocado oil. You can use any fat, really. You can use butter. You can melt coconut oil. You can, I probably wouldn't use bacon grease. I just don't think that it would taste that great. But you could try it. Now, the next thing that I have is an ounce of heavy cream, and I'm just going to pour that in. My precious, precious heavy cream, at risk for being gone because it's out of stock everywhere. Now, we did manage to get to, we had to go to the Kroger, and I went inside and found like 3 containers of heavy cream kind of hidden away. I don't know if somebody was trying to do something sneaky and come back for it, but I found it and I bought some, so we're not like in dire straits. Not that it would be the end of the world anyway. So anyway, so 1 ounce of heavy cream, and then I have 1 egg. And you guys, this is the fresh farm egg from my friend who has the farm up near the Mason and Cincinnati area. And let me just show you. Well, I can't quite get the angle because I'll spill it. The yolk, you guys, is enormous. It's like this big. So, but, so it's just 1 egg. Scrape it in there. And what am I missing? Oh, yes. Okay, now the most important ingredient in the mug cake, gluten-free baking powder. There we are. So this is Geffen brand. I got it on Amazon because they only had Clabber Girl at the grocery, and I don't know, I didn't like it. So, and I'm just putting in 1/4 teaspoon, and you can fudge it. Super not fussy. You don't got to be perfect. That's too heaping, but so you don't even have to like carefully level it off. Just dump it in there. Throw that to the side. And then the last ingredient I have today, J-Rob Vanilla Whey Protein. I kind of want to try egg protein and see how they work in the mug cake recipe, because I thought that might be interesting, because J-Rob does make an egg white protein that in a chocolate and I think in a strawberry flavor, but I have the whey protein. And this stuff was ridiculous expensive, so I'm inclined to not buy more until I've used it up. I liked this one better than the, what was it? Oh, it was the Pure Protein Zero Carb, or Protein Isolate. And I just liked it better because it has, it's stevia sweetened, and it has 2 carbs for the entire scoop. Whereas the whey protein isolate from Pure Protein had 4 carbs, and like I said, and I just thought I liked the taste better, so that's the only reason. There's no reason. I don't have some kind of brand loyalty. I just like the taste, and it's 1 scoop of protein powder. Now, normally with this mug cake, what you would be doing is you would mix it all together, and then you would microwave it for 90 seconds. And that is where my main difference is that, okay, so 90 seconds is fast, but often they come out like super, oops, I forgot my scoop in there, super dry. And the texture is spongy, I think. Now, don't get me wrong, I happily ate microwave mug cakes, no problem whatsoever. They're fine, but if they're better in the Bundt maker and it looks cute, by all means, why would I not do that? Now, I have this little whisk. You can do it with the spatula, you can mix it with a spoon, whatever, but I have this little springy whisk. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. There's a good view of it. That I really like it, and I don't really have any reason other than I always feel that it mixes nicely. And you get in there and you just give it a smash. You throw some powder everywhere because protein powder does that no matter what you do or how careful you are. I know Serious Keto and a lot of other people use the other whisks, the plunger whisk, and that's great too, but I just like this one better. I feel like it gets a nice good mix in there and gathers everything up. The batter does get stuck and it pulls away, and eventually I'll switch to the spatula to clean it all up. And it's very gloppy tonight. Sometimes it's thin and other times it's not, and I don't really know what the difference is, but I don't answer any questions. So the name of the protein powder is J. Rob. So J. Rob, I actually don't know a lot about him personally, but he owns a corporation and he calls himself the diet guru. I don't care about any of that stuff because I don't care about his religion, which there's like a lot of religion stuff on here. I just like the ingredients and I like the way it tastes and I like the way it works in my mug cakes. So there are sometimes when I do care about such stuff, and this is one of those times when I just really do not. I know that Maria Emmerich likes J. Rob products a lot, but I don't know if there's any particular reason. I just know that it's high quality in terms of the way my product comes out. So we're going to give this a mix. Sometimes you do need to let it sit, and it is better if it sits for like 10 minutes, but I'm not going to wait for that. Let's see. Oh, and Jingle Baller is mentioning that their Blackstone is underneath their garage door opener. It does get hot around the Blackstone, but I don't think that your door opener is necessarily at risk. But if it's too close to any surface, do know that it will grease splatter. So that's something to note when you're cooking on it, especially bacon. Bacon is very messy. It gets everywhere. So I actually do take a bucket with some Dawn soap dishwater and scrub the siding. And my Blackstone is actually like a foot away from the siding of my house, but the grease still gets there. So I do tend to make sure I go out there and scrub it. And Sometimes I've spilled grease on the patio, which kind of cheeses me off because it made a stain. But then I was like, well, we plan to die in this house, so a stain from my cooking is going to be there. And if my child chooses to keep the house when they inherit it, they can deal with it themselves. Or if they choose to sell it, I'm sure they can just get the cement painted or coated. And I've mixed it up now so my batter is all smooth. So I'm just going to give a little touch up here with the spatula. And it does look like the little light on my dash has gone off, so that means it's heated and I can put a mug cake in and then we can continue. So 2 seconds here while I scrape away, because as you know, whisks always gather up some things. There we go. Shoot, right in there. So, yep, and I'll just gather up the last little bits from the edge. Make sure that it's good and fluffy. Take a second to dust my table here. And now, this amount of batter makes 2 bundt cakes. It would be 1 mug cake. It's 2 bundt cakes. So I'm just going to open it and pour like half the batter. Give me just a second to pay attention while I pour. And you basically fill it up like 3/4 of the way. So let me see if I can slide this forward. It's hot, so yeah, there you can sort of see it. I'll move there you go, 3/4 of the way, and you just close it. And I set a timer, in theory, if I can see, 4 minutes, and then we should have a bundt cake. Sometimes it takes a little longer. I just sort of open it and check it and see how it does. If you let the batter sit for a while, it comes out a little bit fluffier. So I see Lisa has joined us. Hi, Lisa. And Rhonda. Hello, Rhonda. So also I brought down my little trivet from the Instapot so I can put my cake on there to cool down a little bit. I'll cook both of them. I'm only eating one tonight, and I'll put the other one away for tomorrow. So that's the other piece of tonight. We'll just set this aside until the timer goes off. Drag it out of the way. And now, the reason we are here, the Siphon Brewer. So, this is the bottom half of the brewer. I have a Japanese one by Yanma. The other popular brand is Hario, which I actually have a lot of Hario products. They are well respected in the coffee industry, and so they have a ton of stuff. So this Siphon Brewer, if you recall when we did the Balance Siphon Brewer, we talked about the inventor Loaf of Berlin. And then I mentioned to you that like 10 years later, Madame Vassou of France came up with a more streamlined design. And this design is more like what she did. This is it has the vertical design with the 2 chambers, the bottom and then the top, which is the carafe. So they fit together. And they're in a vertical, as opposed to when we saw the Balance Brewer, it was side by side. It does come with a burner that you would use denatured alcohol in, like we used in the Balance Brewer. But because I am an impatient person, I choose to use the butane burner, which you might recall us using with the Turkish coffee. I just like it better, and there's enough space to use it, so that is my preference. So the way this works is you fill the lower chamber with water, and then you turn the heat on and get it good and boiling. You'll while that is starting to heat, we'll install the filter, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. And as we install the filter, then we will put the chamber in. The water will heat, it'll build pressure and vacuum seal up, and the water will travel up the chain from the filter, through the filter, and into the top chamber. So I see Lisa asking what we're making. And Lisa, I've made myself a protein mug cake for my Sunday night treat. And I'm making a Siphon Brew coffee for the evening using coffee that I received from Jingle Baller. I see Susan B16 has joined us. Hi, Susan. So I will also tell you about the filter. The filter I have here in a cup that started out as hot water, but it's cold now, to pre-prepare it for tonight. This filter is just the same. It's the same as we used in the other balance brewer. It's the double layered cloth that's been stitched together with the drawstrings to install. The soft side goes up, and let's just check this mug cake. I hear my little timer. So here is the mug cake, and I'll show you how easy it is. Actually, I'm going to give it just a couple more seconds. We'll give it another minute while I talk. So the way you install it, you put it over the piece and you pull the drawstrings, and that makes it suck up around the top. So you can see here's the bottom, and then where the drawstrings have been pulled, and it tightens up. The reason you soak it in hot water ahead of time is because that's what opens up the weave of the cloth, and it makes it more permeable for the water to come up through the chamber. So let's see, there's a lot of chat flying by, but it's mostly been people. I see Pam has joined us. No, you didn't miss much, Pam. I mean, I started with a mug cake and went through some mail, that kind of stuff, so nothing major. So, and J-Dog has joined us. So let's see. Oh, how long should a propane tank last? Jingle Baller's asking. That's a good question. I find that it varies depending on how much I'm cooking on it and what kind of things I am cooking. If I'm just doing smash burgers and bacon and omelets, it lasts for much longer. But if I'm doing stuff where I need to cook for a long time, like chicken that's getting covered, or where I'm using it, or if I need to do a lot of cleaning or very sticky things, then it doesn't last as long. So just depends. But anyway, so to install this, you see it has the chain and a spring hanging down. You drop it right down in, and then you give it like a little tug to lock. So it just tugs on the spring, and you see it lays right down in there. And it might come out, yeah. So we'll tug on it again in a minute because I'm disorganized. Let me check that bundt cake is well done now. So it's extra crispy on the bottom, and you just pop it right off onto the cooler. I let the dash sit again for a few seconds to continue. So no, it won't run out during the seasoning. Jingle Baller's asking if the propane tank will run out during the seasoning. Wait, actually I should ask, what kind of tank are you using? Is it the little tank, that the little ones? Or did you get the giant? I use the regular tank like you'd use like on a propane grill. You know, the great big 20 pounders. So, now, where was I? So, yeah, so this is the Madame Vassou design, and the other thing that we learned, which I was talking to you about, the pressure and the siphon. So siphon brewers use the atmospheric pressure to produce the coffee. The water in the lower globe heats up, and it begins to make a vapor, it all seals, and then the water travels up. That's where some things differ, which we'll go over in a second. I'm actually going to put my second bundt cake in. So we've got just doing a lot, and we're going pretty fast. For some reason, I didn't get as much batter as I sometimes do, but I don't know why. Give me a second while it's a weird thing to have to think on, scooping batter. Anyways, clear. We'll give it 5 minutes since that seems like what it's taking. Set all my dirty dishes there. So anyways, so the next step is to go ahead and I'm going to put water into the lower chamber. And I kind of wish I had been smart enough to bring my gooseneck down, but that's all right. I did heat my water up previously. It's been sitting for quite some time though, and as expected, I spilled some. So anyways, as you fill it up, but you do leave a gap, and this one actually has a measure. This is a 5-cup siphon brewer. You can buy some bigger ones, but this is pretty standard. So now I'm going to just turn my burner on. And you actually put your heat up pretty high because you're trying to make it boil. Now, the main thing I'm going to tell you right now is what I'm going to do is I've pulled that, and you just drop it right in there. There are going to be some people who tell you don't drop it straight in, leave it at an angle so it doesn't seal and let some of the water filter in, and you don't have to be that crazy about it. You can put it, it's not going to hurt anything, it's actually not sealed, it's just sitting there, it'll vacuum and seal itself. So, yeah, oh, and Blue Dove mentions the viscosity can vary in eggs. And yeah, and it's true. And this was one of the farm eggs, and I don't always use that. Oh, whoops. So, but, because sometimes I use happy eggs when I don't have the farm eggs available to me because my friend travels with them. So, I love watching it, even though nothing's happening, and I know it's going to be a few minutes. If you want, you can put the lid on. Don't feel obligated to do that until later. You'll hear from everyone whether it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, and honestly, you will find what works for you. What I am doing tonight, I'm going to refer to as the American Siphon Brew. And the reason that is because I'm going to let water come up into the chamber first, and then I'm going to put the coffee in. And then I'm going to give it a hearty stir. And then we're going to wait for a few minutes. Oh, my burner went out. Uh-oh. There it goes. It feels very questionable. I hope I'm not running out of butane. That would suck. However, I could step out of screen for a few minutes and get the denatured alcohol from the storage in the back. We're fine. But, and I can see like a couple little bubbles. That's exciting. So the American Brew, as I let the water come in, and then I'm going to pour the coffee in, give it a good stir. You keep the heat on in the lower chamber because that keeps the water heated and up in the upper chamber. We wait like 2 to 3 minutes for it to extract. Then I'm going to do just like we did with the French press, and I'm going to give a light stir to the top and kind of crack up the crust a little bit, and then we'll wait for another minute while my butane brewer heater is giving me problems, but it's starting to bubble, so we'll be fine. It's exciting. Unfortunately, you can't quite see the detail like I can, but you can see like the little ripples of the water starting to heat. So I'm always super jazzed by that. It's one of the awesome things about siphon brews is just how beautiful they are to watch. So let me take a look here in the chats. Goodness, you guys are very talkative. Oh, Air Frying Annie's asking how long I put the cake in, and I did this one 5 minutes since that's what the other one took. and we'll see how it goes from there. If you listen, I don't know if the sound is sensitive enough, but if you listen, I'll shut up for a second. You can sort of hear the little burbles. Anyways. Yeah, it's probably not quite close enough to the sound to the microphone. At any rate, there's my timer again. One more bundt cake. Oh, it's not done. We'll just close that back up and give it another minute or so. Anyways, the difference between that and the Japanese version of brewing is that if you are doing the Japanese style, I would have put the coffee in here already, and what you would do is you would wait until the water came into the coffee about an inch or so, and then you would give it a hearty little stir. Well, you wouldn't stir it. You would actually just do like a scrape around the edges. So American, 2 stirs, Japanese, just a light little scrape, and you kind of do it at that point where, like we did with some coffees, where you do a bloom, or like gelatin when it blooms, when it's just in there a little bit. So yeah, this is an awesome timer because it's like this, and it actually has like a digital display, so it has little digital sand dots that go up and down in the timer, so it's super cool. So, oh, the bubbles are getting faster. I mean, that's the other thing is that's one of the reasons in the 19th century these were super popular, and then by the 21st century by the 20th century it died off again. Now that we're a little bit more fancy pants and very artsy and willing to take our time for some things, it's kind of getting a resurgence in popularity, which is why you see more of them. As you can see now that the water's starting to become more vigorous, and so pretty soon it'll start coming up. You can see the chain, well, you probably can't see, but the chain is moving. There's the water coming up. How exciting. Oh, my filter's raising. Uh-oh. That's all right. It'll settle back down once it's not bubbling as hard. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit, but still keep it going. I'll take my lid off. And I'm going to give that filter a quick poke down. There we go. And now I will pour my coffee in. Careful not to spill, which I just spilled some, and that's all right. So, like I said, now I've got to give it a good stir to push the coffee down. I wish that I had like those little sound effects so we'd get that, game show patience noise. But, so there we go. I've given it a pretty good stir. At this point, I'm not putting the lid back on because then my lid will get disgusting with the coffee. But I am, as you see, I leave it, a little bits are dripping down in because it's leaking from the filter. But now we'll do 2 minutes. And it's dangerously full, so I'm just going to hold on a second. But you see it's coming down, and we'll just wait. I hope I started it. Nope. Let me hit clear. Apparently I'm having difficulties with my timer. Oh, there we go. So it's going to finish counting down. You see that it keeps burbling down at the bottom because I haven't turned the heat off yet. So let's see. And a little bit of coffee does drip down in there. Not the end of the world. Let's see. I see that some, let's see. J-Dog is asking if we remember when Starbucks had a similar rig called Utopia back in the early 2000s. For basically, he paid basically $100 for basically a percolator. Yep. I don't actually remember that, but didn't always keep up with all of the Starbucks releases, so that's all right. So enough. My timer is done, so I am now going to give this just a little bit of an agitation here and take off my put that in the discard. And as you can see now, I always turn that the wrong way, the coffee is falling back down into the main chamber. Now, I'm super excited, you guys. Oh, I forgot about my cake. My cake is like super well done. But it didn't burn. How about that? I left it in there for like forever and it didn't burn. It is crunchy. That's all right. I'm good with that. What did I tell you about getting lost in my too many things at one time? So, and now here we are, just so you can see, all of this now is just a big mound of grounds, and all of the coffee is down here in the main chamber. That is why the brewer has like this little plastic handle, because what we will do next is carefully use a towel so you can touch things that are hot. It's a little fiddly. There you go. Lift this out, and I'm just gonna take my towel here and let it lay down up front so I can clean it later. Normally you'd take care of that right away, but two things you can do is, if you have a carafe, you can pour this off into the carafe so you can serve many people and walk around with the carafe. Or, and it's always my preference, because why did I buy a fancy thing like that if you're not going to use it? And I serve directly into the cup. So Jingle Baller, I have to tell you, the coffee smells great. And I'm going to let it cool because it is super, super screaming hot, because of course it was boiling and burbling. So let's do some comments while we wait. And then I'll talk some more about the Siphon Brewer, and then we can chit chat a little bit. So let's see. Let's see. Caboodle Bry has joined us. So, and he's talking about the Wheel of Time, which I have read the books, but I haven't watched it. So I did see someone tell me, post on my timeline, post and it went through my feed where they were complaining about the Wheel of Time, but they left lots of space and said, don't read here if you don't want spoilers. A lot of times I don't care about spoilers, but I thought I should maybe wait and see if I get a chance to watch it. Now, and Blue Dove says they get discounted Prime because they're in education. That's cool. And J-Dog's asking, where's Walter White? Yes, and by the way, I found directions on how to make, and they're calling it the Walter White Siphon Brewer, and it's got like the twisty tubes and everything, and I want to try and make one so bad, but I don't know that I necessarily have all the skills. It just looked so cool that I'm thinking if I can find like 3 or 4 YouTube videos, I could probably figure it out. I kind of thought that if I could build at least one and get the hang of it and have it be functional, that then I could possibly make like several of them, which may be cost prohibitive. But the reason I want to do that is because I want to have a big, huge anniversary party with friends where we get all fancy, formal, steampunky, or Renaissance garb, or whatever people want to wear. But, and have like dancing and all the cheese with some charcuterie. And I thought it would be fun if we also had super cool coffees, because I just thought it would be fun. So I actually found a baker who will do the keto cake, and then but they're also the people who do like the elaborate decorations. I took the cake out, air frying auntie, and I cooked it to smithereens, but it didn't burn. It's just real crispy. So, and it still smells good. Not sure what that means about the protein powder cakes, but okay. So I thought that would be pretty awesome. So let's see. Education. I lost track of the comments. I'm not good at this, like the Keto Chow and Watch Autumn. One thing I want to learn how to do is how to put the comments up on the actual screen, where they've been pulling them. That would be awesome. I love that you guys were all reminding me about the cake, but because I was gossiping, I totally missed it and really super cooked it. You guys rock. Thanks for thinking about the cake. Caboodle Bry is thanking for for holiday cards. And Tim has joined us. Hey Tim, good to see you. Let's see. Coffee is greater than cake. Yes, 1000%. Although cake is perfect for coffee. And Caboodle Bry is saying all the YouTubers he's following are treating it like another turning of the wheel, so mentally prepared for a completely different storyline. Oh, see, that's what you guys are telling me, and I said I've read the book, so I'm worried that I'm going to be disappointed. We'll see. It's not actually, it feels actually light, so I actually think it's going to be very crispy, and I'm thinking that maybe I'll save it for tomorrow and eat it with my pudding, because I made a raspberry cheesecake keto chow pudding for tomorrow. Let's see, Jingle Baller is asking how many rounds of seasoning for the Blackstone. I don't know, because I kind of go by how it looks and where I feel satisfied with it. I tend to do like 4, and then I chop up into big hunks an onion, and I cook an onion on it and smear that around, and then scoop off the onions and toss them into a bowl for later. But because the reason I do that is because my grandpa taught me that for my cast iron, and says that there are chemical properties from the onion that help seal it. And since the Blackstone is not cast iron but rolled steel, but we treat it like cast iron, it seems to actually settle in that seasoning just like the same way. And then I saw, after I did that and felt all proud of myself, that Blackstone Betty, who's a Blackstone representative, also recommends the same thing. So, vindication. So, let's see. Where am I? So, let's see. Oh, Blue Dub is talking more about the Wheel of Time stuff. Hungry Heath is talking about Porky Pig, ? And I don't really know what that reference is. I probably missed it. Air Frying Annie is asking about my friends who own the local keto shop. They're doing good. I haven't been there for like almost 2 weeks, and I'm kind of feeling guilty about it. The Keto Cave people, because they are so freaking awesome. I absolutely adore them and their store. But I've been doing a lot of keto prep, and I've been working ridiculous hours again, and I just can't seem to get myself over to their shop. So I'm hoping pretty soon. Let's see. Jingle Baller says they're on their 4th round of seasoning, and has also seen the mention of onion as well. So yeah. So I think that you're probably good if a majority of your Blackstone looks black and sleek, like this plate, and that only your corners are kind of still that golden or steel color, you're probably good to go. But you can season it as many times as you want, as long as you make sure you really let it burn off. One of the things that I see is when people do lots and lots and lots of layers of seasoning is that they don't wait long enough between applications of the layers, and then later they get bubbling and have to scour it and start over. So that's the only risk. My bundt cake is totally done now, so I've torn it in half. Let's see. So that's what the inside looks like. It's definitely cakey. I'd like to try a couple versions. Actually, I'd like to try Rhonda's gingerbread muffin recipe in the bundt cake maker, because the Keto Chow mug cakes don't work as well in the dashes. They definitely need to follow. I need to follow the directions with them. They don't seem as friendly to my hijinks. Almost cooled down enough that I can take a sip. So, oh, I think that I want people to wear pants. I mean, we have friends where we probably wouldn't care, and that's not a problem for us. But yeah, I would totally think. I mean, I guess if someone really needed to go pantless, it would be kind of weird, because I was going to rent a shelter at the Metro Park. That's some good coffee. I'm not sad at all. Oh, the other thing I did, and now it's all solidified because I took too long, is I took some butter and I put a couple drops of maple extract into it, and like 4 drops of a monk fruit extract, the liquid, and made like a little bit of a glaze. It was melted butter, so I would have called it syrup, but since it's mostly solidified now, we'll pretend it's glaze. I'm too lazy to make actual syrup, and I didn't feel like digging out allulose liquid monk fruit, so it's more buttery, and like a couple drops of the maple extract. Perfect for me, which goes well with the cake. I'm just gonna pour it on there. Plus, the fat from the butter is probably really good for me today. I haven't had as much fat as I might normally have. So, there we go. It's not the sexiest thing ever, but it is butter, and as we all know, butter is delicious. Super good. And so, Shauna is asking if she did the egg, non-gluten baking powder, and 1 serving of protein powder for 2 bundt cakes. Don't forget, also, it was 3/4 of an ounce of avocado oil, 1 ounce heavy cream, 1 egg, the baking powder, and the protein powder. So, let me dig up my keyboard and I'll type it in here real quick into the chat. Let's see. There's no room on my table, so everything is scattered. So, avocado oil, 1 ounce heavy cream, 1 large egg, 1 protein powder. Sorry, I couldn't type and talk at the same time, so. But like I said, you have to experiment with some of them because they're all a little bit different. But yeah, I do love bundt cakes for dinner sometimes, but like, since it makes 2 bundt cakes and they're small, they're not that bad. So I like to have them either like for the snack or for a side dish with my meals. Oh, and OP saying, oh, and welcome, by the way, and welcome, Attila. Oh, and Attila's talking about maybe kilts at the big shindig. I agree. I'm a big fan of kilts. So, I used the J. Rob Vanilla Whey Protein Isolate, and I do use protein isolates because they have fewer carbs. Let's see. Oh, an older Pennsylvanian said they had a brunch today and someone brought Amish butter and it was amazing. Yeah. Now, that is what I have been eating. The last time, well, at Thanksgiving when we went to pick up the rib roast, I bought a Walnut Creek Amish roll of butter and it was so good. The baking powder is Geffen Brown brand, and it's found on Amazon. There's no particular brand that you need. You can use whatever. Sometimes people are really strict about their baking powder saying gluten-free on it, but baking powder is generally gluten-free. So there's no real need to stress about it because they're not actually adding gluten to it. It's just that some brands actually call it out as gluten-free and add it to the label. But that's the big thing. I bought this because I don't like the Clabber Girl. I feel like a lot of times it's stale on the grocery counter because it doesn't give that lift. So that's why. So I bought this and it came in a 2-pack for about the same price as the Clabber Girl. So yay me. It's 1/4 teaspoon of the baking powder. Oh, I knew I forgot something. You'll have to add that in. Oh, and older Pennsylvania says they want aluminum free. You know what? This doesn't say that on the label, but I didn't think about that at all. It doesn't say. It does say it has potato starch in it, but again, it's your standard baking powder, so I'm not too worried about it. And Jingle Baller was asking about the Blackstone, if I think 15-minute increments is waiting long enough. And probably, because it's definitely warmer there than it is here. So, yeah. Oh, and J-Dog mentions from a safety standpoint, they always buy it if labeled gluten-free because Patty's celiac. Yeah, so that would be super extra good point to be extra careful. So... I have to take another sip because it is really good, although it's super hot. Alright, so, as a reminder, with the Siphon Brewer, we already went over the science-y part. I will tell you that it's basically, in terms of coffee, it's like a hybrid, really. I know Siphon is its own category, but the vertical one with the filter, it's sort of like a hybrid brew. If you think about a combination between the French press full immersion, because of the way it sits up in the top, and then also, but the way it brews, it's also very similar to like getting the pour over effect when you do those. So like a Chemex or like we're gonna do next week, the V60. And I know I've shown you my other pour over that has the metal filter in it. So it's a really good cup of coffee, I got to admit. But as you can see, it's kind of fiddly, but it is gorgeous to look at. But I will tell you the other thing is that it is a pain in the ass to clean. I know I mentioned before when we talked about whether these filters were reusable or not, and I said technically you can because they're cloth, but also it's so hard to unfurl them and stretch them back out, and then washing them, that calling them reusable is questionable. I will say that I think that it's a good idea to try and reuse them, but if you think about it, get this over here, I've got a big giant pile of grounds that I'm going to be digging out of here. They're all going to be stuck onto the filter, and the filter undoing the drawstrings is not exactly easy, so it's going to be hard to get it all washed out. So I don't know. Sometimes I've even had to cut them to get them off, and so that makes it, to me, it feels a little wasteful, but at least it's cloth and it does qualify in the bag category to go into compost. It will break down, all of that good stuff. So there's that. I'm going to sneak another bite of the Bundt as my butter continues to solidify, and I'm not sad about it because now it's just getting more frosting-y but buttery, and the couple drops of the maple extract, chef's kiss, delicious. I bought myself a fork and a spoon, like I was going to use manners on the camera and eat politely, but as you can see, I'm just picking it up with my fingers. Like, why not? It's delicious, and who cares if butter gets on my fingers? I have a napkin. So, Shauna says she bought a Bodum French press yesterday. That'll be awesome. I enjoy a French press coffee, but I love a lot of coffee, and I will tell you that Turkish is probably my #1 favorite. I see Melissa has joined us. Hi, Melissa. Although you have cat speak, so I don't know what you meant to say. Do I have a moderator? Attila is my moderator, but I don't know if he's paying attention. Do I have a troll in here? I'm not seeing it. But yeah, I probably would like to get another moderator. It's really small, and I'm hoping that I can take care of it. But, let's see. But yeah, so do I have moderators? Just Attila right now, and I'd like to get another one. But I don't think I'm big enough to warrant getting trolls. If I do, I will also say that I've had, you had me worried. Now I'm scrolling back to make sure. I don't see anything trolly. You see Melissa with some random thing, but I don't see, but it just looks like it was mistype. So, but yeah, if somebody were to volunteer, I would easily be happy to have another moderator, because eventually I hope that we have more people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's my thought. I was like, I'm small right now, so one person and myself, and I do try to pay attention to the comments, and I figure I can pretty much get whatever I need. So, for the moment, and then as we get bigger, we can add somebody, all that kind of fun stuff. So, okay, so as far as my very favorites, I will tell you that the AeroPress, well, Turkish is my very favorite, and then also closely Turkish, then AeroPress, but I don't know. It's hard to say after that. Then it's all kind of even between the pour over and the French press, and the siphon is really good, but I don't like cleaning the siphon, so it doesn't come out as often. And I think that, to me, that if I am lazy, then it's not my thing. And I will say that the AeroPress makes a damn good a cup of coffee, and takes like 2 seconds to pop out the coffee puck and give it a rinse. So, God, now that it's had time to cool, just so you know, like when your coffee is steaming hot, it's often good, and people love to order super, super, super hot coffee, but super, super hot coffee is hard to drink because it burns your mouth. But if you get it super, super hot and then you let it sit and settle, the flavor develops and it improves. So, yeah. Well, thanks, OP. That helps a lot. So, yeah, but that's good. And thanks, Shauna. We'll talk about that. I probably would like to add you. So, where was I? Oh, yeah, so the Siphon Brewers. So, I will say, here's the part that we didn't go over. Oh, hey, we've got Blaine the Keto Klingon. I do have thoughts on cold brew. I love cold brew, and it will be a topic for a live stream at some point. I actually have a few different cold brewers. My favorite was one I backed on Kickstarter, and it's just called the Arctic, and I really like it, but there's nothing special about it. I just like it because it's shaped like a beaker. So, you know, we all have our things. So, I don't have a problem with cold brew. I enjoy it. It's nice in the summer. But to be honest, I actually prefer iced coffee. So, we'd probably do that. In fact, I will be bringing back the Vietnamese Fin so that we can do Vietnamese iced coffee. That's one of my summertime favorites. And I think that you guys would enjoy that as well. So, now, one of the things that I've said a few times when we're talking about this is I've called it Japanese, and I talked about the difference between Japanese and American brewing. So, you should know that one of the reasons in the United States we call this Japanese brewing is because they adopted the French siphon brewer from Madame Vassou, and in Japan, their coffee bars, having siphon coffee bars was like super popular and really went like wildfire because A, it's a good cup of coffee, and B, in Japanese culture, hard work deserves good rewards, and one of those kinds of rewards would be going and having something with that high visual aspect. And I see that Blue Dove is asking if I always drink cold brew cold, and no. One of the nice things about cold brew is that when you heat it up, it becomes a very clean, very lightly flavored coffee. And it does do what they say, where it takes out bitters. So, now if you over extracted the coffee to start with, then there's nothing to save it. Absolutely nothing. None of that stuff actually works. So, but if you have a really strong coffee that leans towards the strong and that little bit of burnt flavor, and you want to tone it down, cold brew and heat it absolutely does. It does tone it, even it out a little bit. So, yeah, so in Japan, siphon brew shops were a big thing. So they would have all of the siphon brewers out and doing their single, and the Blue Bottle Company here in the United States threw down the dollars to build a siphon brew cafe here in the United States. Now, I don't remember the exact dollar figure, but it was big bucks. They really dolled it up, but everything they got was from Japan, and they modeled it after the Japanese siphon shops, which very much gave the impression that that was the origins, instead of leading back to Madame Vassou out of France. So, I personally have never been to a Siphon Brew cafe, and I would really like to. So, I think it would be actually a gloriously artistic experience. Plus, I'm really into the beakers, and I love the big balloons. The Balance Brewer is nice too. I really enjoy the Balance Brewer, but half of it you can't see into because of the metal container. And here you can see the entire process. And that is the part that I'm super into. I forgot to bring an empty thermos down to pour off my coffee, so now it's going to get cold before, well, maybe not. It'll be warm. I'm going to pour it off into a small thermos this evening so that I can enjoy it later. Let's see where we are. Oh yeah, so Blame the Keto Klingon is saying that he will also often warm up the cold brew coffee, especially if he's using it in the keto chow with butter. That's a great plan too. I was going to mention that, by the way, before you follow me on mixing your butter with the maple extract, you should know it is super salty. No, you don't want to drink out of that because it does stay hot for a very long time. You will burn your lips so bad. Also, probably spill it because of the globe. It would probably glump out, and it would be one of those times where, you know, like when you drink out of your water bottle and suddenly just way too much comes out and it spills all down your front. But with coffee, I don't think that would be very pleasant. All right, so what else did I need to tell you about this? All right, so I think that's really everything, partially because we went over the Siphon Brewer before. But if you don't remember, in addition to, let's see. In addition to Madame Vassou, also, what was his first name? I don't remember his first name. Last name was Napier. He was the Scottish guy. Also claims to have invented it, but because he was dumb and didn't get a patent, he can't claim it. So it's one of those big controversies as to whether it really is Madame Vassou's invention or if she nicked the design. But hey, you file for the patent and you get it. You snooze, you lose. And that's the same thing with the controversy in the United States with the Mrs. Bridges and Mrs. Suttons out of the Salem, Massachusetts. They got the patent and everybody says they didn't make it, they didn't design it. But guess what? They filed all the paperwork and they arranged to get it produced. So it's theirs now. So if I'm warming up cold brew, I do not heat it in the microwave. Although there's no reason not to. There's no big deal. The microwave doesn't do anything different. I just like my little pots. I usually keep it in the carafe, and both my beaker, or if I pour it into a coffee carafe, are heat resistant and can be put on the stove. And as you recall, I have that little camp stove that I love a lot because it has the butane flames. So I enjoy the experience of using that. But there's absolutely zero reason not to use the microwave. So let's see, Jingle Baller sent a picture of the black stone. I don't know how to share pictures yet, or I would, because I know I'm not the only Blackstone enthusiast here. Let's see. Oh, you're fine, Renee, with those. Don't worry about those spots. I would actually jack the heat up on it again super high and do another smear of the oil on it. Send this over to Jerry too. But don't worry about that coloration. The coloration is partially, you're fine. I would totally just start cooking some onions on that. People do worry a lot about their Blackstone griddle looking perfect. And just so you know, it often goes through all kinds of crazy stages with the seasoning. So like if you cook like a big old hunk of ham steak on it, the next time, even if you've cleaned it thoroughly and you go, sometimes there'll be a discolor in the seasoning. No worries. Just heat it up a little longer during the next couple cooks. Bacon will sometimes leave staining areas on it. And it's just the coloration. And it's not dirty. Make sure when you clean it that you clean it so that it actually is clean. If you're getting a lot of black on it, then it's not clean enough. And you need to do more rounds on it. But, yeah. Oh, you cannot. Even if you do mess it up, you can fix it. That's the beauty of the Blackstone and any flat top griddle. It's not just Blackstone. Any flat top griddle. It's rolled steel. So the worst thing that happens is that you trap some water into your seasoning, or you over greased it and it got bubbly or some lift, because it will happen. Everybody, or you'll get a little bit of rusting happens. It's rolled steel. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter how awesome you are at taking care of it. All you do is you give it a good griddle bricking and scour it all back down. And then you give it a good wipe off with the water, jack up the heat, and then you start over with the seasoning again. And if you let it get super, super bad and like the entire surface rusts over, and yeah, but if you like let it go, like you set it out in the rain for a couple weeks, you might have to worry about your burners. But your rolled steel, even if the entire thing gets covered in rust, you can take it to a service and have it sandblasted back down to raw rolled steel, and boom, start all over from fresh, and it's good as new. If you are proficient with power tools, you can even use a wire wheel and scour it back down to the raw steel again too. Blaine the Keto Klingon is asking if he's right to think you basically treat the surface like good cast iron, and the answer is 100% yep, you can do that. I'm super glad that I decided to share the bundt cake with you guys and to eat it tonight, because I almost changed my mind at the end, because I made a meal prep of Scotch eggs. They're not really Scotch eggs. Honestly, I should be given a good smack in the face for calling them a Scotch egg, but I don't know what else to call it. It's a sausage wrapped hard-boiled egg. But the sausage is chicken bacon sausage. And so after I cooked the eggs, I rolled them in the chicken bacon sausage, and then I rolled them in pork rind crumbs, and then I baked them. And I didn't bake them 100% of the way, because while the sausage is fully cooked, the pork rind crumbs are not quite crispy all the way. And that is so when I heat them up in the morning, I can throw them in the air fryer and do 5 minutes and then get them that hard, crispy shell. And that's my morning meals this week. Yeah, so I almost thought it might be nice to have those, because like breakfast with coffee. And I sometimes, I always have sweets on Sunday nights. I almost thought it might have been nice to have something savory to show you how we can have coffee with savory, coffee with breakfast, and coffee with steaks. Or coffee goes great with steak. You need to get a strong, sturdy coffee. Eggs in a blanket or eggs in a piglet Yes. Except for I use chicken with bacon. So, I don't know. But it smells great, and I just thought I really wanted to eat one. But it's probably smart to stick to my plan. I'll share with you, though, you guys, I've been keto for a really, really long time, and I read all the time people going through this kind of thing, and I've never done this myself until yesterday. I cannot believe it. I visited some friends, and they gifted me some keto cookies. She's a brilliant, brilliant baker. Hey, welcome, Hardbite. Nice to see you. Goodness, I'm losing my ability to speak proper. So, anyways, you're right. Blame the keto Klingon. Coffee goes with everything. 100% it does. Coffee goes great with coffee. Yes, it does. I agree. So they gifted me cookies, and I'm often fine with treats. In fact, I usually have my Sunday night treat, and I'm good to go for ages. And sometimes, you see, I don't even eat the whole thing sometimes. So, but I don't know what happened. I couldn't stop eating them. I ate the cookies. I must have, and now, good news. They're small cookies. They're like high key sized. But even with high key, like I don't even eat a whole serving of high key cookies if I have them. I eat like 3. But for whatever reason, I ate those cookies. I ate like 12 of them. And then I was like, wow, but now I'm hungry for savory and I needed to eat like real food. So I had some a chicken enchilada with some sour cream and a metric ton of cheese. And then I ate more cookies, and later I was like laying in bed going, my stomach hurts. You guys, I have never binged eat like that. I don't know what got into me, but I can't fathom what happened or why, or if it was just the stress of such a long day, because I did leave in the wee hours of the morning, do a bunch of driving, and all kinds of stuff. But it was a bizarre experience, and I will say though that it gave me a new understanding for some of the difficulties people are going through. Now the good news is that basically it turned me off, and this morning I did not want any of the cookies. We got up, we picked up the groceries from the grocery order, and then I grilled steaks. And I ate a steak, and then in the afternoon I ate my keto chow pudding and 2 hard-boiled eggs, and then I have my bundt cake, which is protein powder. So, and I don't feel like I want cookies or anything like that. So I don't know what it was. It was just like really crazy. So it was a bizarre experience. I will tell you, I have no desire to have those feelings again because it didn't feel good later. It was a restless night's sleep too. I got like super hot flashes, and my abdomen hurt, and there was nothing bad with the cookies. And honestly, if I think about how many I ate, it felt like a lot, but since they were only this big, it's sort of like I ate 2 servings of high key cookies, and I don't know, would that really cause that much problem? Because she gave me the ingredients. It was almond flour, and then like some spices like the cinnamon and the monk fruit. It was just, I don't know, it was not a good feeling to eat like that out of control. And I don't like that. And I don't, I'm glad that I had the experience though, so that I can better feel and understand how others feel when they go through it, because it's easy for me to say like, give yourself some grace and don't beat yourself up over it. But I hadn't really processed how those emotions were with yourself. So, yeah, maybe it was too much sugar alcohol. I don't know, but 100%. Yeah. And I don't even know if it was the cookies so much that it was just like way more food all at once. So, I'll also say that yesterday I had way less coffee than usual as well. So maybe I needed the coffee to make me not hungry. I don't know. So that was my. It was an experience that I am. I feel like it was good for me to have it. It really did bother me to feel like I was having out of control eating, though. It was, yeah. Right. No, and Jen Delaney says they understand what I'm saying, so I don't know, it really blows my mind, but I'm also kind of a tightly wound individual, so I mean, that's probably why I'm a project manager in my regular life, and I work with finance, which is very regimented, and everything I do is very measured and regimented and planned out and thought. So just being so out of control was it was discomforting. So, but like I said, I feel like I'm a more knowledgeable for having had the experience now. Yeah. Oh, hey, thanks for joining, Blaine the Keto Klingon. We stop in 10 minutes anyway, so because this is from 6:30 to 8, so you're not missing anything. We're in the gossip part. So. Oh, and Lisa says that she has some hikey cookies, but hasn't wanted to try them yet. More of a savory snacker. Yeah, that's me. You know what? I would go for cheese anytime. I love cheese, and actually one of my favorites is just like regular old baked cheese, when you make those cheese crackers and they're all crispy, crunchy. And that's probably why I like this too, because while the bundt cake itself is sweet, doesn't have extra sweetener in it, and the butter adds extra salt to it, so that really helps it along for me. So... And since we are getting ready to wrap it up, are there any more Siphon questions? And Hard Bites recommending that I embrace the chaos, that it gives perspective and gives better limits for next time. Yeah. Well, I've been keto for years and years and years and haven't done that before, so I don't know. I'm just gonna say there won't be a next time for me. Oh, the coffee, and Jingle Baller says they're glad they enjoyed the coffee and loves that they don't use any sweeteners in their process. Yeah, and I will say I don't know a lot of coffee companies that do, but I actually have another bag here. Let me pull it out. This is a Vietnamese coffee, Nguyen coffee from they import their beans from Vietnam and then process them in Brooklyn so that you can have Vietnamese coffee. They also don't use any sweeteners. Vietnamese coffee beans used to have sweetener in their oils, and then they switched to a butter finish. And I am super glad about that. And Air Frying Auntie says they also got some of that coffee. So, and sorry, it just smells good. I know, is that weird? But I hope it's not weird. Well, you guys are coffee people. I'm sure I'm not the only one who really likes the way the beans smell. But if there's not any last minute questions on the Siphon, I'm going to keep blathering and tell you guys that I am so glad that we had the live stream tonight, because otherwise I would have to be working on the stair restoration project, and I avoided it all day today because I'm still trying to heal my my knee up. I actually was going to hop on the bike earlier until I was walking to the garage to put some creamy pints, and suddenly it twinged again, and I was like, well, I guess then it's not 100% better, because this morning walking around and stuff, I thought my leg was all better, but it's not, so I have to rest it some more. So, oh, and Air Frying Auntie says they want to put the fresh beans in their car to give that scent. Oh, Jingle Baller, we love to talk about the Blackstone. And then Hard Bite says they got a bag of beans today and got to give them a sniff before grinding. It's part of the process. Yep, I agree. But I also like it too, right when they're freshly ground and you get that whiff. That's amazing. Oh, and Karen Caboodle Bry says that Karen loves the smell of the coffee but can't drink it. That the taste doesn't work for her. I know several people like that. That's not an unusual thing. Because the coffee smell is very different from the coffee taste. So, anyways, I'm hoping that we have some better weather in the next couple weeks. Now, I was going to buy some hamburger or some ground beef yesterday at the butcher shop, but I bought the whole strip. And I also bought that sausage because chicken bacon sausage was too easy for me to, I couldn't resist it because it was $1 a pound. And I wanted to do the wrapped eggs. And by that time I was like, well, I've kind of spent a lot of money and I still have to do the regular shopping. So I didn't buy ground beef. But I plan to, so that I can do another Blackstone video with a couple different things using the ground beef. But I want to, because I enjoyed cooking outside, but I don't enjoy bringing all the film equipment. And if it's raining or super cold, I extra don't want to, because I like to just go in and out of the house. So, let's see. Jen Delaney's asking if I like coffee flavored like stuff like bourbon or rum. I don't like to drink, she doesn't like to drink alcohol, but loves alcohol flavored coffee. I love bourbon beans. I love when they've been infused, and I love the beans that have been roasted in bourbon barrels. I think it really brings it up a notch. So, now when it comes to flavored coffees, I like flavored coffees, but I'm very, very picky about them. It's one of the reasons I don't like a lot of the Bones coffees, because there's something in their flavoring that hits my palate wrong. I don't know why or what it is, because a lot of the flavors sound like ones I would like, and then there it is, I don't. So, but then again, I've tried a couple of their flavors that I got during a sampler, and I thought I would hate it, and turns out they were awesome. So, who knows? You try some, and you never know. Let's see. Visual Keto got 5 pounds of chuck roast yesterday for the engineer beef. Yeah, that engineer's lazy beef is pretty darn good. We've made some of that recently as well. And Jingle Baller says their ground beef was a 10-pound chub for $3.44 a pound. That's a pretty good price. Weirdly, Whole Foods here has a pretty good ground beef for $3.99 a pound. For bougie ground beef, that's pretty amazing. So I am fine with that. And Jingle Baller says it was 90-10, but they like to add their own fat. Me too. I actually love adding bacon to the ground beef. And if you add the bacon, if you add raw bacon to the ground beef and mix it in together, let me tell you, that brings up the smash burgers quite a notch. It is so good. So I highly do recommend it. And just so you guys know, I see that it's 7:59, and I know that we have Two Crazy Ketos 12 Days of Christmas at 8:30. So I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. I really enjoyed spending a time with you guys and just shooting the breeze. So we will circle back, and I will talk to a lot of you guys again in half an hour. So good night, everyone. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Let's see.